What's up, YouTube? I'm driving to a lesson. I don't know how many people are going to be on this early, and if my phone is going to stay connected to this nice little adhesive I have. Hopefully it will. But anyway, I wanted to come on and talk about Wimbledon. Wimbledon's starting tomorrow. It's going to start off with a big bang, potentially in a couple of rounds. If Kyrgios can just get motivated enough to win at least one match. Kyrgios, can you at least get your talent in line and in shape to focus for one match so you can give the world what everybody wants to see, which is Nadal versus Kyrgios, second round, the parabellum match of the tournament. Prepare for war, because you know Nadal and Kyrgios, interestingly enough, Nadal and Kyrgios really would want to win that match. So as you're tuning in, let me know your predictions. If there is a potential second round matchup, we're going to talk about more. I'm driving to my lesson, probably take about 25 minutes to get there. So we're going to talk about, okay, we're back. Sorry that I lost you guys. Hopefully some of you will come back. But anyway, we'll try again. So we're talking about Kyrgios versus Nadal. I'm going through the history here. If you don't know the history, Kyrgios really erupted on the scene by beating Rafa. I think maybe in the what happened, but I think that's what happened. It was the second round. Kyrgios beats Nadal. If you ever watch them play exhibition matches, Acapulco, I saw them play in Cincinnati. For whatever reason, Kyrgios really matches up well against Nadal. He loves to play Nadal. And after Acapulco, Kyrgios, how's it going? How's it going? I'm not going to be able to read very much. Right now we're starting to get on the highway, so I'm basically going to be looking straight ahead. Oh, we're at a stoplight now, so I can look at you guys. But after the Acapulco match this year and Nadal lost, Nadal basically said, and rightfully so, you know, he was probably pissed off that he lost to Kyrgios, especially the way Kyrgios acts. And Nadal basically said that he's disrespectful to tennis, he's disrespectful to the fans, he's disrespectful to his opponents, he's disrespectful to himself, and that this is why he doesn't win. That he says, you know, it was like a backhanded slap compliment where he's saying, look, the dude is awesome. There's no question about it. He could be a Grand Slam title winner. He could be number one in the world, but he doesn't respect anybody, not even himself. I think Felix Auger-Aliassime could do a do turn. Yes, I love Felix. I think, and he's the opposite of Nadal. He's very talented, but tries hard. I mean, not of Nadal, sorry. The opposite of super excited for the matchup, but I unfortunately think Nadal won't let himself lose to, yeah. Well, that's what we're going to talk about, okay? Because there will be no greater chance for Kyrgios to beat Nadal than second round of Wimbledon after Nadal has come off the French Open. Nadal wins the French Open, so obviously a lot of clay court tennis, maybe a little tired, maybe a little content, but and not a lot of grass court preparation. So the idea that he's going to play Nadal early in this tournament would give him the best possible chance to pull an upset against the guy who he has been successful against. But we know Nadal is maybe the most fierce competitor ever in professional tennis. Maybe ever. He's one of the top competitors ever in any sport, period. Nadal is very tough mentally. He's a fighter. We know he's never going to tank matches. We know that Nadal, that's just not in his DNA. Where Kyrgios, we know he is a tanker. He's weak mentally. You know, he's wasting away his talent, but every now and then he gives us a glimpse of how amazing he can be, and you know that they're both going to be up for this match. I don't see Kyrgios possibly tanking in this match. I see him trying hard, and I see Nadal trying hard, And let's face it, that Nadal will be at a little bit of a disadvantage as far as the surface, the speed of the match, and that he's not going to be used to the grass. I always say this every year about Nadal. If Nadal can get out of the first week of Wimbledon, his chances of winning the tournament go up to like 50% or better. I mean, the dude, once he gets past the second week, he's a real contender. But the first week can be very rough for him because he's just not used to the timing. And the idea that he's got to play Kyrgios is not a good thing. No matter what anybody says, no matter what Nadal says, it is not a good thing for Nadal to have to play Kyrgios in the second round. So the interesting question becomes, is Nadal's just sheer will to win going to be so powerful against Kyrgios? Is it good enough to beat a guy who really outmatches you on grass? I'm sorry, Kyrgios, if he's on his game, has the game where he should beat Nadal on grass, in my opinion. It's a fast surface, although it's not as fast as it used to be. His serve is unbelievable. Shorter points, more touch and power play. Right? That's the combination that Kyrgios has when he's on his game. So he's got unbelievable power and unbelievable touch. And so that is going to be putting Nadal at a real big disadvantage. But we know that Nadal would absolutely hate. He would hate to lose to Kyrgios after the last matchup. He really, really, really wants to beat this guy. They do not like each other. I'm looking for. I can't read. Keep reading keep making your comments, guys. I'll read them after the live stream and keep commenting for everybody. So I think this is great. I just can't read your comments right now. My prediction, I don't even know what to say. It could so go either way. You know, it's just going to be all about the mental toughness for Nadal. If he can mental toughness overcome a bad matchup and talent and surface, I mean, every disadvantage. I'm going to predict that if Kyrgios gets to the second round, and believe me, Nadal is a much better champion. He is, you know, they're not even in the same class. They will never be in the same class. Nadal is a much better champion, a much better person, perhaps, I don't know, or at least he carries himself in a completely different way. Kyrgios is never going to have the accolades that Nadal has. Never. Not comparing him, but I will say this. If Kyrgios gets to the second round, I believe that Kyrgios is going to beat Nadal. I think that it is going to be, that they're both going to try hard, and that the surface is a huge advantage for Kyrgios. I saw Kyrgios play Nadal at Cincinnati, and Nadal does not like that court. He does not like the ball, because I got to interview him. I got to go in the press room afterwards, and Nadal said he doesn't know what it is about Cincinnati. He loves the tournament, but he doesn't like the ball. He never performs well there, and he just doesn't like the surface and everything. So when they played that match, being that Nadal just never could feel comfortable on that court, it looked like a David and Goliath show. I'm telling you guys the truth. Kyrgios is so much bigger than Nadal. He hits the ball so much harder, which is kind of weird to say, because Nadal crushes the ball, especially once the point gets going. But Kyrgios hits the ball so much harder and can flatten out the ball so much more. And he was literally toying with Nadal. And so if Nadal is not feeling his timing, you know, grass is not a surface where he can be running way back and forth, you know, near the gate, near the fence, and be Kyrgios. So I think it's going to take for Kyrgios to lose. And if he does this, he should just retire. Like, for Kyrgios to lose, I think it's going to take a disinterested Kyrgios who tanks and doesn't try in the key moments, who makes excuses, who lets some line called set him off the deep end. Like, I think that is Nadal's big chance, is that Kyrgios is so freaking nuts that even though he wants to beat Nadal in the worst way, that he is going to let a line call, a look from Nadal, something that somebody says in the stands, something like that is going to bother Kyrgios so much that he decides in his mind that he's going to tank. I think that will be the way that Nadal would win that match, is that the match is on Kyrgios' racket to me. He's either going to show up and be so motivated and play big tennis where it's like Nadal can't do anything, or he's going to self-destruct. I don't see a Kyrgios coming in on that surface 100% motivated, trying hard, playing well. If he does that, I don't see how Nadal is going to beat him on that surface. I just don't see it. So my pick is, if Kyrgios does not go freaking crazy, he's going to win. But we all know that Kyrgios easily can go nuts. That brings me to my next point. I'm wearing a Federer hat. Federer's my favorite player. But it's interesting, when I say that, I always like then kind of like give Federer the business a little bit. Nadal was not happy to be seated number 3. And look what it's gotten him into. Now all of a sudden, because of his draw, like, he's going to have to play Kyrgios in the second round, potentially, if Kyrgios wins his first match. You know, that could potentially be Federer playing Kyrgios. I'm sure Federer wouldn't be happy to be playing Kyrgios. No matter what anybody says, no one wants to play Kyrgios, because you know that you're either going to play somebody who is going to either tank and give you the match or blow you off the court potentially, because he's just that talented. And on grass, tennis is just not as predictable a game on grass. And especially if you're playing somebody who's got a big serve, big forehand, and good touch, there's nothing you can do sometimes against a player like that. Even if you, on a week in and week out basis, are always going to have better results than the person you're playing against, Wimbledon is the surface where if that person is serving well, hitting big, and Kyrgios also has touch, sometimes there's not much you can do. That could potentially be Roger Federer's draw. Nadal, before the draw even came out, said, look, I don't think it's cool that all of a sudden I'm going to be seated number 3 because I'm ranked number 2. I just won my 12th French Open, and I've won Wimbledon a couple times. It's not like I'm so bad on grass that I've never performed well on Wimbledon. You know, he's kind of saying, look, I'm a legend just like Roger. I mean, he didn't come out and say this, but I think this is what he's thinking. He's thinking, look, I'm a legend just like Roger. I'm one of the greatest players of all time. I've won this tournament a couple times. It's not like I totally suck on grass. How come I'm not seated number 2? I have earned the right to be seated number 2. The computer says I'm number 2. I just won the French Open. I've won this tournament a couple times. Last year, I lost a 5-setter heartbreaker to Djokovic. I forget it was the quarterfinals or semifinals, but I played pretty good last year too. How come I'm not seated? How come I'm not seated number 2? I deserve to be seed number 2. And if I got the number 2 seed, by the way, my draw would be so much better than it is, right? Nadal does not have a good fortune draw here. Let's be honest. And Federer, who ends up with a 2nd seed, Federer has a fantastic draw. Federer, it's like, Federer, it's like I know he didn't, and I'm not accusing him of it. So don't read into this. This is just like a comment. It's not an accusation, but it would almost seem that he paid to have this draw that he's got, because it's just that good. And then Federer has got the nerve. Now, I've only read the quote, so Federer might have been misquoted. He might have said it in a different way. But the way that the articles are written is Federer's just kind of saying, look, Nadal, deal with it. The draw is what the draw is. You have to go through and beat everybody anyway. And so, deal with it. I'm number 2. You're number 3 at the tournament. That's the way Wimbledon works. Don't be crying over spilled milk. Is kind of the way that the press is saying that Federer has treated this whole situation when Nadal complained about the draw and his seeding. And I find that a little bit weird and a little bit disrespectful if that is in fact the way Federer's actually said it. Because he didn't have to go there. He could have said, I think if in Federer's typical response and the way he usually stays out of stuff, I think Federer should have said something like, look, Nadal has the right to be complain about it. If this is the way he feels, I understand. It isn't that way. I really don't have much of an opinion on it. It didn't happen to me. Unfortunately, it happened to Rafa. I understand his position, why he'd want to be ranked number 2 and seeded number 2. And I would have just left it at that if I were Federer. Because you can say, look, you got to go through everybody anyway. But there's a big difference when you're seeded 2 and 3 as far as who you're going to have to play, where you're placed. And if Federer would have been seeded number 3, he would have had to play Kyrgios in the second round. That's the way the draw worked out this year. So if you just switch those 2 names, now all of a sudden Federer might not be making it out of the second round if Kyrgios decided to show up and play the kind of tennis he's capable of playing. And Nadal is one of those players where if you get to the second week at Wimbledon, he's very, very tough to beat. The tournament starts playing a lot more like clay in a way because the ground gets rougher, and so the ball sits up more. Nadal will start to feel the time. He starts to get used to timing of playing on grass, everything. The first week is very, very tough for Nadal. And so I want to know your guys' thoughts. Is it a legitimate gripe of Nadal to be saying, look, I'm a legend too. I understand that Roger is a legend. He perhaps is the biggest legend in our game. He perhaps is the greatest grass court player of all time. But at the end of the day, I'm a legend too. I've won this tournament. I just won the French Open 12 times. I'm ranked number 2 in the world. How come I'm not number 2? How come you guys can't? I'm not just any other player. Like, if it's somebody else like Alexander Zverev, who's seated a certain, I don't even know where that guy's at anymore. He's up and down. Where is he ranked in the world? But let's say Alexander Zverev is now number 5 and they seat him at number 7 or something like that. Then that's, to me, legitimate. Wimbledon has every right to do that. Zverev's really not proven anything on grass, and I understand that. But to kick a legend out of his rightful spot, who's actually won the tournament, I don't think is right. I don't think it's right. And it has affected Nadal's draw to where now he's got to play this dude who he doesn't match up well enough. He doesn't match up well against on grass. He just doesn't. And so, if I'm Nadal, I don't know if Nadal saw the draw and saw he was number 3 and then he started to complain, or he was heard he was going to be the number 3 seed. But there's no way Nadal is happy with his draw. And now he's got to go out there John Wick style, play against a potential assassin who could take him out. And he's got to go out there and just fight the way he fights. And he's got to hope that his fighting spirit is going to be there. He's got to hope that Kyrgios misses a lot of first serves. He's got to hope that his eyes and his timing are good enough in the second match on grass to be able to return the Kyrgios serve and get into points. That's what it's going to be about. If Nadal can see Kyrgios' ball and get some returns in, and Kyrgios just plays some sloppy games, and Nadal gets up early, he could have Kyrgios quit and tank and run away with the match. But if Kyrgios gets off to a hot start, it's going to be trouble. So that's my opinion. Let me know. Who else do you guys see winning the tournament? It looks like the the lighting is so bad you guys can barely even see me, so I might be ending the stream here in a minute. But who do you guys see winning Wimbledon? What about Djokovic's draw? How is Djokovic's draw? Do you guys think that he's got a good draw? I mean, it seems to me that his draw is okay. Federer has the best draw. Nadal certainly first week has the toughest draw. And I think a lot of with all those guys, Djokovic, Federer probably more than anybody, and Nadal, it's all about the first week. I think they're very vulnerable the first week because grass is so much different. And if you end up playing somebody with a big serve, a big forehand, or all of a sudden somebody who likes to come to the net like a Dustin Brown, then it's a tough way to go. You know, these are the type of people, again, that take Nadal out. Look at Dustin. You know, tall people with big serves like to come to the net, have good touch. That's just not good. Let's think about everybody that Nadal has lost to at Wimbledon that he should not have lost to on paper because he's obviously a much better champion. And there might be more that you can think of, but the ones that stick out to me are Mueller. He lost to Mueller. He lost to Dustin Brown. He's lost to Kyrgios. Who else has he lost to on grass that, you know, he shouldn't have lost to? Those are the ones that really stick out to me. And so it'll be very interesting to see what happens. Comment below. Let's see, how do I end this I'm going to end the broadcast now, guys. Leave your predictions. Also, I guess before we leave, we have a little bit of time left. I saw Serena in her press conference. What are your picks for Serena at Wimbledon this year? If you love her, don't love her. To me, she's always, at this point, unfortunately, especially when you think about mainstream media, okay, mainstream media, maybe if you're like a crazy hardcore tennis fan, there's other interesting storylines, but, you know, really, she's the only one, I think, who deserves to be noteworthy because she's the only one willing to be a champion on the women's side. Every other woman who becomes a champion over the last 20 years has run away from that. Maybe Kerber, or give her a little she either like shows up and wins. When she shows up and wins, gets the second week, she can go far and be very dangerous. But, you know, what has she done this year? You know, but Serena not coming in with the best preparation, has not trained the way she wanted to train. She says the last couple weeks she's felt good. She didn't play a warm-up tournament, I don't think, but she says at least she's felt good and been able to get a solid couple weeks. It's obviously not ideal for her. And she tried to clean up. If you watch her last press conference, do you believe her or not? She tried to clean up what happened to Dominic Thiem in his press conference. She said that she was wanting to go into another room. She offered to go into another room, and she would have preferred to go into another room, a smaller room, and get her press conference going. And she basically said if she can't get that she would have come back and done the press conference. But then they said, no, hold on. We'll kick Dominic Thiem out. She said that's not cool, guys. That's not right. And that's the way she did it. I believe the truth is somewhere in the middle. I believe that Serena came off the match. You know how Serena is. She is a diva. Love her or hate her, she's a diva. You know she came off the court pissed off, really, really upset. And they said, well, Dominic Thiem's in a press conference right now. And she probably said, well, I want to get this over with. I want to get out of here. Put me in a small room. I prefer to be in a small room. Let's do this. And they probably said, well, then they're thinking, well, sorry, Serena, we're not going to put you in a small room because you losing is a big story. And you are bigger than Dominic Thiem, whether people like that or not. She's a bigger star than Dominic Thiem. And in their mind, they said, this is about money. If you're this upset and you want to go on right now, we'll accommodate that. We're going to kick him out because we want as many press in there for you to talk about losing, because that's a big story. And so We're not going to put you in a small little room with a couple of press. We're going to put you in a big room with everybody in there so you can talk about how you lost. And I think that's what happened. I think Serena did offer to go in a small room. She would have preferred to do that. She didn't want all the spotlight on her. Serena loves to talk in the spotlight when she's winning. She's not a good loser. She hates to talk when she's losing. And so she wanted to have it be as private as she could, as quick as she could, get it over with as soon as she could. And so she offered to go in that smaller room. And she probably did say, oh, what, you guys are actually going to kick Dominic Thiem out? That's not cool, guys. That's disrespectful. I think that's what happened. So I think it was kind of both the tournament's fault and Serena's fault, because, you know, Serena was putting pressure on them to say, I want to get this over with right now. I want to get out of here. And they're like, no, you're not getting out of here without a full room of press and having to answer questions about why you lost. So I think the blame falls somewhere in the middle there. That's my opinion. I'd be curious to know your opinion. Like this video. My name's Pete with Crunch Time Coaching. This is a tennis coaching channel. Although when big majors come around, sometimes I like to hop on and do some live broadcasts for you guys. I'm heading off to my lesson right now. I'm in beautiful Georgia. It's a beautiful day. I'm going to do some lessons from basically like 7:30 to 10 a.m. And then I'm going to be working on my new course, which is Upgrade Your Forehand. And that's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm also doing reviews. So let me know if you would like me to be your coach. I'm going to be reviewing people's matches. This lady Ruth, she played a match. I'm going to be watching her match that she sent me. So that's the amazing thing about technology, is people can send me their matches. People are sending me their strokes. They're getting access to all my courses. So if you are interested in that, comment below and I can send you a link on how I can be your coach. And yeah, that's it. So thanks so much for watching. I'm going to end this live stream. And hopefully the sun going in and out wasn't too painful on everybody's eyes. Let me know your predictions. Who's going to win on the men's and women's side? I am picking Roger Federer to win Wimbledon on the men's side. And on the women's side, I have no idea. Maybe I guess Ash Barty has the best game, and she's #1 in the world. So I will give Ash Barty that respect. Ash Barty, I'm picking you to win Wimbledon. But I wouldn't be surprised if you lost in the first week. All right, everybody. Good day. Thanks so much for watching.